The U.S. midterm elections are coming up in little more than a week's time. Americans will be on the eve of shaping the nation's political future for at least the next 2 years. Early voting is already underway in most states. On Saturday, President Joe Biden cast his ballot in Wilmington, Delaware. Citizens will choose which party takes control of Congress and ultimately the path of American policy. The economy, abortion rights, healthcare, immigration, guns and crime are just some of the issues on the ballot paper. Well, the midterms aren't just about the key issues in the United States, though. They also serve as the first nationwide referendum on Joe Biden's first 2 years in office as president. Steve Lai breaks down what's at stake.
Even though this year's midterms do not feature Joe Biden's name on the ballot paper, his future in the White House is very much on the line. Currently, the Democrats control both chambers of Congress, but by very slim majorities. All 435 seats of the House of Representatives are up for election every 2 years. The Senate is a little different. Only about 1/3 of the 100 seats are up for election because senators serve 6-year terms. During midterm votes, many states also elect their governors. Bottom line, a lot is at stake. Election day is on the 8th of November. The Republican Party wants to take back control of both houses of Congress, turning them red. To win control of the House, Republicans need to hold the 212 seats they currently have and flip 5 more. To take power in the Senate, the GOP has to keep what it has there and add just 1 more seat. Democrats are hoping Congress remains theirs, with an eye on even expanding their majority by a seat or 2. The battle this year could not be any closer. Democrats must control both chambers to effectively enact most legislation. If they lose, they would be forced to rely on Joe Biden to veto bills they disagree with. If the Republican Party gains control of either or both chambers, it will have the power to thwart the president's plans. This midterm elections may deliver bad news for the Democrats. Historically, voters often give the incumbent party a beating, and the president's party tends to lose ground. And what happens next? Once the midterm ends, all eyes turn to the 2024 presidential poll. It could be a repeat of 2020. Both President Joe Biden and ex-President Donald Trump say they plan to run again. Or it could throw up new names, such as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican who could base a run in 2024 off how he fares in November.
The outcome of the midterms won't just affect Americans, but potentially the entire world, including Asia. And here's why. First, whoever controls Congress could influence U.S. policy. Several distinct shifts in American foreign policy may include the focus on China, initiatives in the Indo-Pacific, and developments around trade, technology, and supply chain restrictions. Now take a look. Asia is a region critical to the United States as it tries to win the strategic competition against China in the Indo-Pacific. President Joe Biden's aim to place allies and partners at the center of his foreign policy is clearly visible in this part of the world. A number of senior U.S. officials have visited the region since he took office. And earlier this year, Mr. Biden himself took his maiden presidential trip to Asia. He made sure he called on 2 important allies, South Korea and Japan. In Tokyo, he launched the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, which has 13 members. It's a broad plan designed to help expand the U.S. economic leadership in the Indo-Pacific. The IPEF aims to set international rules on the digital economy, supply chains, as well as decarbonization. It's part of a growing presence of U.S.-led multilateral groupings in the Indo-Pacific. Now, AUKUS is a security pact involving Australia, the UK and the United States, and it is seen as an effort to counter China. Meantime, the Quad security grouping that involves these 4 countries which share the vision of a free, open and transparent, inclusive Indo-Pacific region. There's also the Five Eyes, an intelligence sharing arrangement between the US, UK, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. Now, there are bilateral tie-ups as well, the decades-old US-Japan Security Alliance and the US alliance with South Korea. You see the trend. Washington wants to boost its profile in Asia's economic realm, where China is the dominant country. As regional geopolitics evolve and respond to Beijing's growing power and influence, so too will American alliances and security partnerships.